Hi! In this video tutorial, I will give you step-by-step instructions on how to use the OpenSprinkler software and the web interface. This tutorial is based on Firmware 1.8 user manual. You can find the user manual online at www.opensprinkler.com. OpenSprinkler uses a standard 24-volt AC sprinkler transformer. To start, connect the two wires from the sprinkler transformer into the screw terminal, and then plug the screw terminal into the AC power socket. Then slide down the power switch to turn it on. To reduce the chance of damage due to power surge, please use the certified surge protector with your transformer. To connect OpenSprinkler to your station valves, plug the common wire into the common terminal and the station wires into the station terminal. If you have a rain sensor or freeze sensor, you can connect it to OpenSprinkler through the rain sensor port. You can also power OpenSprinkler by using a USB cable. To do so, plug in the USB cable to the USB connector, and the controller should turn on immediately. OpenSprinkler has a number of options that you can set directly on the controller by using the three push buttons. I will refer to these buttons as B1, B2, and B3. To set the options, you should turn off the controller first. Then hold B3 while starting the controller until you see the Setup Options screen. Next, click B3 to cycle through all available options. If an option can be modified, the cursor will blink and you can click B1 or B2 to modify the value. For example, you can set your time zone, select DHCP or static IP, set the number of extension boards, station delay time, master station, and so on. But not all options can be modified using buttons. Some of them can only be modified through the web interface, which I will cover shortly. The complete list of options and explanations can be found in the online user manual. When you are done with the settings, press and hold B3 until the controller restarts. At this point, your changes are saved and activated. Note that you must perform this step, otherwise your changes will be lost. There are two additional features during startup. If you press B1 while starting the controller, it will enter the self-test mode, where each station will be turned on for 10 seconds one after another. The timing can be modified in options. This is useful for quickly testing if all stations are working. Now, if you press B2 while starting the controller, you will see the Reset Options screen. To activate Reset, click B1 and select Yes, then hold B3. This will trigger a firmware reset, and the controller will restore to default settings. Because OpenSprinkler is a web-based sprinkler timer, you can program water schedules, check station status, and apply controls through a standard web browser. To do so, you need to connect OpenSprinkler to your local network. The simplest way is to use a wired Ethernet cable to connect OpenSprinkler directly to your router. You can also connect OpenSprinkler wirelessly to your router by using a Wi-Fi adapter or Wi-Fi repeater such as this one. In this case, you will first configure the Wi-Fi adapter to log on to your Wi-Fi network, then connect OpenSprinkler to the adapter through its Ethernet jack. Instructions can be found on your Wi-Fi adapter's user manual. If you are traveling away, you can still access the controller remotely by using the port forwarding feature available on most modern routers. This allows an external web request to be mapped to your OpenSprinkler controller. Again, specifics of how to set up port forwarding can be found in the router's user menu. Once the controller starts normally, you will see the current time displayed at the first line of the LCD. The controller can automatically obtain current time by using NTP timesync based on your time zone. It also makes use of the internal real-time clock to maintain accurate timing even if the network is lost. The second line of the LCD displays station status. If a station is currently open, the LCD will display an ASCII animation. If you have defined a master station, it will be marked by the capital M. Also, if you have any extension board, you can click B3 to cycle through all available extension boards. To find out the IP address of your OpenSprinkler, click B1. This will briefly display the current IP address and the HTTP port number. Click B2 will briefly display the gateway IP, or in other words, the IP of your router. During operation, OpenSprinkler will continuously monitor the network status indicated by the Wi-Fi icon at the end of the second line. If the network is lost, and if this continues for more than 5 minutes, the controller will automatically reconnect. During the reconnection process, any ongoing water schedule will continue to run without interruption.
Now I will describe OpenSprinkler's web interface. To start, open a browser on your computer or any mobile device that's connected to the same network as OpenSprinkler, and type in OpenSprinkler/ and return. Then you will see the home page displayed in the browser. If this doesn't work, try to type in the controller's IP address, and it should work the same way. At the home page, you will see a list of menu links at the top, followed by the firmware version, current time, control buttons, and a table showing the station status. If a station is currently open, the status shows which program it is running and the remaining water time. If a station is waiting to run a program but is not open yet, it shows the scheduled water time. Note that the home page does not refresh automatically. You will need to click on the refresh button at the top or press your browser's refresh button to update the information displayed on the home page. Below the table is a list of control status, including the operation, rain delay, rain sensor status, water level, and elastoran record, which shows the information about the station that ran most recently. At the bottom of the home page is a list of control buttons. Here you can stop or start the controller, switch to manual mode, set rain delay time, or reboot the controller. To use any of these buttons, you need to put in your password. The default password is OpenDoor. For security reasons, you will need to input the password whenever you make changes to the controller or program settings. Now click on the Options link at the top of the home page. This will direct you to the Options page. Here you can change a number of settings such as the time zone, HTTP port, number of extension board, station delay time, master station, rain sensor, water level, and etc. If you pause your mouse on each option, a tooltip will pop up that explains the option and the accepted range of values. Note that you will only see tooltips on desktop computers and not on mobile browsers. To change any of these options, you need to put in your password. You can change the password at the bottom of this page or set the controller to ignore the password. Going back to the home page, now click on the stations link at the top. This will direct you to a new page where you can set a custom name for each station. The maximum length of each station is 12 letters. You can also set for each station a master operation flag. This indicates whether the master station will be activated. Once you submit the changes, the station names will show up on all web pages. At the home page, click on the Programs link at the top. This will bring up the Programs page. Here you can see a list of existing programs. You can add a new program, delete or modify an existing program, or preview the programs. Let me add a new program so you can see the basic elements of a program. First, you need to select days. It can be a weekly schedule or an interval schedule. For weekly schedule, you can select days and additionally an odd or even day restriction. For interval schedule, you can input any interval of 2 days or above and the starting day. For example, every 3 days with a zero starting day means the program will run today and every third day from today. A starting day of 1 means the program will run tomorrow and every third day from tomorrow. Next, select the set of stations. And finally, input the start time, the end time, the interval time during the day, and the duration time. Basically, the program will begin at the start time, repeat every interval time until the end time. So in this particular example, I've set a program that starts at 6 a.m., water each 4 hours. For each station, it runs 15 minutes, and it will stop after 6 p.m. Keep in mind that if you have selected multiple stations, they will run sequentially, one after another, and every 2 consecutive stations will be separated by the station delay time, which you can set in the options. Also, if a station is set to activate the master valve, the master station will turn on, and the precise times to turn on or turn off the master station can be fine-tuned by the master on-off adjusted time in the options. If you want the program to run only once during a day, you can put in either an early stop time or a long duration time to make sure that the program doesn't run more than once a day. When you're all set, click on the Submit button, and now the program is added. Keep in mind that each program uses the same time settings for all selected stations. If you want the stations to run with a different water time, you can do so by simply adding more programs. Each program will replicate the same start, end, and interval time, but with a different set of stations and runtime. This firmware allows a maximum of 32 programs. Finally, you can also enable or disable each program by using this radio button. Once a program is disabled, it will not run anymore. To verify if your programs are set correctly, I highly recommend using the Program Preview feature. When you click on the Preview button, you will see a graphical plot of the programs. By default, you will see today's programs, and the current time is indicated by this pink line. Each colored bar is labeled by the program index, and it represents the block of time during the day that each station is scheduled to turn on. If you pause the mouse pointer on each colored bar, a tooltip will pop out with the station name and the time to turn on and turn off the station. The master station is indicated by the brown color. You can check the program of a different day by putting in the day, month, and year. If you omit any field, it will automatically use the current month and the current year. In the program preview feature, the station delay time and the master on-off adjusted time are all taken into account. You can zoom in to check these bars with more details. So this really provides a very handy tool to help you visualize your program settings and find out any potential scheduling mistakes. At the home page, click on the Run Once Program button. This will bring up a new page where you can set an individual water time for each station. After you click on the Run Out button, the program will start running immediately. The normal programs will be temporarily interrupted until the Run Once program is completed, at which point the controller will automatically return back to the normal programs. Note that the station delay time, master on-off adjusted time, and the master operation flags will apply as usual. At the home page, if you click on the Menu On button, the controller will then switch to the menu mode. At this point, the normal programs will stop running, and the home page will show a list of buttons, each corresponding to every station that I can click on to manually turn on or turn off the station. When you turn on the station, you can also put in an optional timer value so that the controller will automatically turn it off after the specified amount of time. When you're done with menu mode, you can click on the Menu Off button to return back to the program mode. Once you have set a water program, the OpenSprinkler's built-in scheduler will operate on its own without any external computer or software. However, if you need, you can also bypass the built-in scheduler and send external commands to turn on or turn off stations. This is possible because the OpenSprinkler's web interface is implemented using HTTP GET command, so you can use direct HTTP links to send requests to the controller. For example, if I type in the IP address followed by a station name, then the web page will return a binary number showing the status of the station. Similarly, I can set a station by assigning the station name to a binary value. This allows me to turn on or turn off a station directly. You can find a list of common HTTP commands in the online user manual. Finally, you can update the firmware on your OpenSprinkler to the latest version by following the firmware update instructions online. This concludes the tutorial. Thanks for watching.